This week we conclude our 100-mile expedition down the Middle Fork of the Salmon River in Idaho. Join me, Russ Cameron, and our guide Brad Fry of Adventure Sun Valley as we challenge more whitewater, visit hot springs, get in a little more fishing, and take in more of God's creation. And you'll find it right here on America's Outdoor Journal.
America's Outdoor Journal. Brought to you by Guard Sports, Oshman's, and Sport Mart, where your next outdoor adventure begins.
Very good. Now as you put the fly line right underneath your right trigger finger.
And that helps me for a strike or something?
That's right. That's how you're going to control your line. Your left hand is basically, it has to play the excess line to keep the line so that you can set the hook. And also, if the fly's floating towards you, you can take line with your left hand so that you'll be in a position to set the hook when the fish takes the fly.
All right.
There you go. It's a Dolly Varden.
The Dolly Varden.
Now these fish are a lot like a lot of humans. They like to get the most amount of return for the amount of energy. So what they'll do is they'll lay in the eddies in the slow water where they don't have to work very hard to stay in position, and they'll watch the current go by, and of course the current carries all the food. So then they can just slip out, grab an opportunity when it goes by, then slip back into the water and rest. That's why we're going to be working the edges and right behind rocks and stuff a lot. Very nice. Just stop your back cast at about 1 o'clock, just a little more straight up with a slight delay in your, there, that looks good, very nice. There you sit. Yep. Okay, very good. Now when they take it off the top like that, you don't have to be just real quick, you just have to make sure the line is tight and the fish will basically, basically set itself, as long as you can get the line just tight against itself when it takes it. Very nice.
So this river is barbless only?
Yeah, single barbless hook, all catch and release. It's one of the reasons that it's so consistently good. Very nice. Okay, there you go, nice and easy. Yeah, it's been really nice since we got the sweet boat this year. We're able to put all the baggage on the sweet boat, so that these boats are so light that we can really hold them up against the current, and we can take our time and makes them extremely maneuverable and lets us get in position real well. You'll want to cast just slightly at an angle ahead of the boat so that as we float through, you'll get minimal eye drag. There you go, nice. Middle Fork is a fun river because the fishing is real active, and they're not particularly finicky, so we're able to introduce the sport of fly fishing to a lot of people that otherwise may be a little bit intimidated by it. And it's kind of nice too because it's pretty comfortable to ride in a boat and move along versus trying to wade out across the rocks, you know, and catching brush with your back cast. So there's been a lot of people who've been able to introduce spouses and kids to fly fishing in a nice, comfortable environment. Now look down ahead, very nice. See how that water's coming off that point there? That's a perfect place where a fish would lay right in the slow water.
And that's an eddy back behind there?
Exactly.
I see.
So just let her drift right through there. It looks really good. You're right in position.
Oh, it's sunk.
Now, unfortunately, yeah, after a couple seconds, the fly will absorb. Oh, that's perfect right there. Oh, you got him.
Yep.
Get him on.
He's a little one.
Oh, just a little slow there. Not bad. You put the fly right in the right spot, and he was right where advertised.
Yeah, right where you said he would be.
There's only about 10,000 more rocks like that in the next 2 miles, so we'll get another one.
All right. So this little guy is definitely hooked.
Yep.
You think this is a little cutthroat?
You know what that is? No, that's a.
Oh, there he goes again.
Another long distance release. You're getting good at that.
Oh yeah.
This is was a juvenile steelhead before it heads out to the ocean. Yep, little rainbow.
That's awesome.
That
is there a So far we had a Dolly Varden.
That's right.
I had a little cutthroat on, but he got away. And then he said the
Dolly's,
steelhead.
cutthroats, and rainbows.
All that in about 5 or 10 minutes.
Yep.
Nope.
Okay, now that's where you got to have that line underneath your left finger, so that when you set the
Yeah.
line with your left hand,
Yeah, I messed up
you
on that
can
one.
catch it with your right trigger finger, then you can take another bite. Very nice. There's a good salmon return here. They're coming back. They're making progress, but they're not. We're not fishing for them because they're all wild fish here. There's no hatchery here, so and it's a nice thing. It's nice to see the numbers coming back. Ah, nice cast.
Remember, products we use in the show are available at Guard Sports, Oshman's, and Sport Mart.
Well, I appreciate it. Once we got down, you let me take a chance at fly fishing.
Oh yeah,
A little bit.
we generally do a lot of it. That's a lot of fun.
And you can teach almost anyone. Obviously, I'm a rookie, and you're helping me pick it up. I wasn't
right.
doing it quite right. But
Absolutely. Like I was saying yesterday, it's a real nice place to introduce people to fly fishing. It's fishing from a comfortable boat, so they're not out, you know, stumbling along on the rocks. And they generally the fishing is just very. They're not very discriminate. They're pretty easy out here because there's a lot of river and they don't get a lot of pressure. So
right.
it's we enjoy teaching people how to fly fish. And of course, you know, we provide all the fly rods and the flies. So, you know, a lot of people walk into a fly shop and they basically have to mortgage their house to see if they like it, or you know, to get enough gear to get started to see if they like it or not. So here they can just come out and they can play, and if they likes it. And I think there's quite a few of our client guests that go home and end up with some fly fishing gear in another month or two because they really enjoy the experience. It's one of the few natural fisheries left in the United States that never plant it. They're totally a wild fish, and they're very healthy. And they're very aggressive. They don't get much pressure, so.
I've seen different sizes. They get pretty big, or?
You know, the Middle Fork's not world famous for absolutely huge trout. We'll catch them up to 18, 19 inches on a semi-regular basis.
That's pretty good.
Oh yeah, it's wonderful. But what I'm able to tell people is it's not uncommon for me to take a 14, 15-year-old who's never held a fly rod, put them right here on my back seat where they can just flip a line out. I can move the boat, and we can catch, you know, dozens in an afternoon. So it's a very nice place to both the experienced fishermen and the novices really enjoy that.
Right. I've noticed there's obviously a lot of adults that go out here, but it seems like there's a lot of family that enjoy this as well.
You know, like last week we had 10 people under the age of 11.
Really?
It was a great trip. They do great. You know, we've taken them to youngest part. Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, it's a great learning environment. They have a lot of fun.
Are they quiet at first like the adults, and then?
No, they hit the ground run. They hit the ground run.
You gotta love
no,
kids.
they have a good time. Yeah, absolutely. You know, kids are great out here because, in fact, I had a really nice compliment the other day. Russell and a couple of the guys did such a good job with the kids. And Mom said it was one of the first vacations she relaxed in years because.
You're kidding.
Well, Russell would take the kids up and they'd swim, or he'd have them doing different projects.
They're doing everything
for
the adults
hours.
are doing out here.
Yeah, exactly.
They're kayaking, they're floating down.
Exactly. So and plus, you know, it makes Mom and Dad cool. Mom and Dad are finally doing something, you know, the kids think is kind of cool. So it's a fun time.
Yep. So day 3.
Yeah, day 3, we launched from Whitey Cox. We went down past Loon Creek, which is mile 50 on the river, and we stopped at Hospital Bar where we had lunch, and that was a lot of fun. There's the jumping rock and the hot springs. Then Russell led the people down through that small Class 2 rapid that they swam, and a lot of people
with the life jackets on.
That's right, with the life jackets, not safety ropes and everything. But people came up with some pretty big eyes and had a real good time with that. It's kind of nice because then we were able to take about an hour and a half nap. Everybody kind of went out and read a book or wrote in their journals. Real relaxing, and Then we went on down to Lower Grouse, and we saw some good fishing going on that afternoon, and we camped at Lower Grouse. Now, Lower Grouse is the one that has the beautiful cliff up there, and that's where President Carter actually spent one of the nights on the river when he came down the river. And
at Lower Grouse, I noticed there was a cabin up there.
well, that belongs to Bob Simplot now. Of course, the Simplot family's in Idaho, and it was where Daisy Tappan lived most recently, where she raised her 3 young boys as a single mother in the wilderness, if you can believe that. Raised vegetables and produced animals and sold a lot of to the miners coming through. And
Then we started off on another adventure from Lower Grouse camp.
yeah, that's right. Well, you jumped on me with the sweep boat, and we
Yep.
ran the sweep down through Tappan 1 and down through Tappan Falls, and that's kind of an exciting thing to see.
It was
how
a different feeling. Yeah, a little different deal.
I forgot to warn you that I have to hit the deck with those sweeps hard when we go through drop, because as the boat goes into a hole, those sweeps, if they hit anything, they'll come down and really slam on you. So you're preemptive and put the blades right on the ground. And probably a little alarming if you didn't know
Yeah,
it
well,
was
I thought you were
coming.
bailing out on me, to be honest with you. It scared me. Pretty good one there.
I had enough, I'm done. So yeah, it's a nice little stretch of rapids down there through Tappan series, and then we switched out with Billy. Billy took the sweep boat and we floated down through there. Right after lunch, you saw a piece of history on the Middle Fork. Unbelievable. Haystack Rapid, I've been talking to you about that all week long. It was one of the more formidable rapids on the entire river.
Right.
And it was definitely the one that concerned the guides the most, particularly with the heavy sweep boat. It required a lot of maneuvering in it. And we had a storm here last week, and we must have had a flash flood of some sort, and it made a blowout, which is very rare, and it completely swamped, and it flooded Haystack Rapid. So it's kind of a weird sensation. It eliminates one of the rapids that was kind of a concern, but I liken it a little bit to maybe having a great rivalry and a sport rivalry,
Right.
and someone kind of a love-hate relationship, and all of a sudden it's gone.
So it was a weird feeling to you to see it.
Oh yeah, it
like
was
an
real
old-
surreal. The new rapid's quite interesting. It actually has some of the nicest waves in the canyon right now.
Seems like it was a blast now.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We, of course, we stopped and looked at it really close and walked down, and it was quite an adventure because the mud wasn't quite set up yet, or the bank wasn't quite set up yet, so it was a little bit interesting.
Pretty soft, wasn't it?
Russell lost his sandal and still hasn't found it, so.
Not for lack of digging.
No. So we took a good look at it. Had it been unrunnable, or we would have been just walked the guests around, or maybe even lined the boats through. But as it is, it actually gave us a very nice channel to run down through, some fun waves, and as it'll change a lot in the next couple of years. That rapid it'll be fun and exciting to see what ends up staying around for the next couple of years.
We got through that safely.
Yeah. Then we went down to the Jack Creek Canyon, and we saw earthquake rock. In the 80s, there was an earthquake in Chalice, and they came out here in the spring and saw that bus-sized rock sitting out in the middle of the river. So
Where'd that come from?
it came up off the hill. They say this canyon's filling in rather than eroding. The rock in here is so hard in places that.
Right.
Yeah, so that's a real fun stretch for the duckies, the people in the kayaks and the paddleboat. It's a couple miles of basically not much of a threat, but just a lot of fun rapids and the fun waves. And that was a fun afternoon. We saw a lot of sheep. What did we see? 4 or 5 different groups of sheep, including
Herds, yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
including
amazing.
one herd that had a nice ram in it. So, and they're
How big
remarkable.
does an animal like that? How much does that weigh? Something that big?
Boy,
that ram?
you got me. I'm 100.
These aren't your
200
normal
pounds.
sheep and goats and that sort of thing, are they?
No, these are the Rocky Mountain bighorn sheep. There's several different bighorn sheep, but the Rocky, the Dow, the Stone sheep, but these are the Rocky Mountain variety. And they don't seem very alarmed with boaters down here, do they?
No. Pulled into another nice spot that you call Surveyor's Camp.
Yeah.
Tell us.
It's one of my favorite camps on the river. The story is that's where the survey team stayed in the 30s when they came down here to investigate where to put the dams in the canyon. And they were
The dams in the canyon.
Yeah, they were going to dam it up in a couple different places. Of course, that was a source of energy, and it was kind of the thing to do in those times. But this area is so remote that they weren't able to ever get the resources necessary to get the road in to get it done. And of course, when the war effort came about, it just kind of got put on the back burner. And by that time, thank goodness, it kind of lost momentum, and it never happened.
Good.
Remember, products we use in the show are available at Guard Sports, Oshman's, and Sport Mart.
Yeah, Brad, we left Surveyors after another nice breakfast and a strong cup of cowboy coffee, and rode down a nice stretch, I thought. We came to something I thought was one of the best parts of the trip, which was the big waterfalls and some of the slides and some things that were in there. Do you stop there every time?
Yeah, typically. Most people really get a kick out of that. That's Waterfall Creek.
Okay.
And in the early spring, the water will almost be going over top that bridge. And this time of year, we always hike up on the bridge and we can look at it. And depending on how adventurous the people want to be, you see that we can lead a little side hike down along the side of it, kind of go through a neat little tunnel of the waterfall. And it's quite a little exploration. Not a dive particularly, but a jump into the river, and it's on a nice warm summer day, it's kind of an exhilarating experience.
Yeah, that waterfall that comes through the rock like that, it's really a blast. I mean, it's a blast, but it's also really cold. I mean, it really wakes you up.
Yeah, you don't need it. You wouldn't have needed to drink the coffee, I guess, if you knew that was coming up in an hour or two.
Yeah. Is it always like that, or does it change every year?
Earlier in the spring, during the high water runoff, that doesn't last long. There would be too much water to walk through there at that time of year. But for the rest of the summer, it's a safe issue. We keep a close eye on people. Okay, then we had lunch down at Love Bar, which is just downriver from Elk Bar. Elk Bar is a beautiful camp, but...
well, how did Love Bar get its name?
I think it's just an easy walk away from the main camp.
So you love it, huh? That's awesome.
I guess you could use your own imagination, I don't know.
Yeah. And cut. It's a good thing we stopped at the waterfall and got a little dip and drove in there, because you took me on a pretty